thanks for joining me. Welcome to this new slow life. My name's Erin. Thrilled you're back. Guess what today is? We are gonna can pickled red onions. And I have taken time to perfect my recipe to be exactly what I want. I think it's really flavorful and I just can't wait to share it with you. There's many ways you can alter it. So maybe you want to start with just a quart and pickle 1 quart that you're not going to can and see if you like that flavor, and then commit to canning a whole batch. At the same time, this is an amazing recipe. I highly recommend you doing it. Before we start, I wanted to show you a couple things. I got a 10-pound bag of potatoes, and I need to use it up because I'll be going to my home in the desert in a little bit. And this is the end of what I did last time. I make a big pot of mashed potatoes. I lay down a mat on my cookie sheet and I just put big old dollops on it. And then I freeze them. Then I pull them out of the freezer. They're laying flat. I pull them out of the freezer and I put them in a baggie. This is a grab and go moment for my husband and I. Works perfectly. The other thing I do is I always make a grain every week. And I had extra, so I put extra dollops of barley in a cupcake tray, froze that. So today in my bowl is a chunk of this, and I'm ready to go. So those are just a couple of tips that reduce waste, slow down your life, which is the goal of all of this for me. I'm newly retired city gal. I want to go deep into canning, preserving. I want to take my garden to another level, and also at some point bring you around to some of the areas of my home that I have redesigned. I come from a design background, and you'll be seeing a little bit of that. Right now, my heart is completely in the kitchen. I wanted to go over the ingredients that we use for the pickled onions, and then I'll show you what I figured out with my mandolin and how I'm slicing the onions, and we'll run through the process. So I have my sugar, I have my garlic. Okay, you need to know this about me. I always get everything out. Oftentimes I'll get it out the night before because I love to see it all, number one. Number two, I want to make sure I have enough ingredients, and it just feeds my soul to just have it all out. So we're going to do sugar, garlic, salt. These are juniper berries. You can substitute it with a handful of other things. Again, I've just found cracked the code for what we like. Whole cloves, a bay leaf will go into each jar. Did I say garlic? Yeah, I did. I've already peeled my garlic. And what I'm going to do that is different than when I pickle and put it in the fridge is I'm going to add 1/8 of a teaspoon of the crisp. And I think that will be really good. You can use cider vinegar or you can use white vinegar. I think that's it. Let's get started. Also, to get started, make sure we have our water bath canner, and that's heating up. I have my brine pot, my pint jars. Really, I want to do them in quart, but I have pint, and that's what is going to drive the day. I have my lids all ready. I've cut some of my onions, and that's it. So let's get to work because it's going to be fun. Come on. I have a video that I made for pickling onions in the refrigerator. You make your brine, you put your onions in the quart jar, and it goes in the fridge. We're going to can today, but I figured out how to not be so clunky with this. And I want to tell you, this comes off. So when you're doing the mandolin, this goes off happiness. I start with my compost bowl, the bowl that I'm going to save and freeze so that I can dehydrate this and make more onion powder when I'm ready. Okay. I'm going to show you how I cut my onions. I sharpen my knife and I take off my little ends, and that goes in my compost, and my outer layer goes into the compost. So I cut my onion in half. I peel it. This is dehydrating pile, dehydrating pile. So sometimes if you have to pull off a big layer and you think, oh, what a waste, it's not, because it's going to go in your dehydrating pile. Okay, so much better. So then when I get down to this little piece, it's not wasting, it goes in my dehydrating pile. So it's still a win. Okay, I've been crying cutting these. So I didn't want to do this next step, but I made myself. Depending on how you like your pieces, I don't want to pull this out of a jar. So I just grab the whole pile of them, and I just do, gosh, just, I don't know, maybe 3 cuts. I keep a lid over my onions because they're driving me crazy. This tool I added to my kitchen. It just scoops up everything. So these are great. I like these sizes. I don't like this. And it just needs to be cut. Again, you kind of race through this part because the tears are a-flowing. At my Sunday volunteer job, there is a table that cuts bags and bags of onions. And how they do it, I know not. I've tried to volunteer at that table. It has not worked. So we are ready to work on filling our jars. The recipe I'm using, I will most definitely have it in the description. We're going to do 6 3/4 cups of apple cider vinegar. And I ran out, so I have a little bit of plain vinegar in here. Totally fine. You can do it all with plain vinegar. You need 1 cup and 2/3, 1 cup of, I like these onions on the sweeter side. I was first introduced to them at a Mexican restaurant here in Seattle, and I absolutely loved them. And it was just that sweetness that worked for me. 1 cup water. I failed to mention my secret ingredient, and that is my Thai chilies. I buy these in an Asian market, and then I freeze them. I like a spice. Now, if you don't have these, that's fine. You can use red pepper flakes. I think it doesn't make mine spicy, but it just adds a little tiny bit of warmth. So I have all my peppers laid out. Can you see that? Yes. My brine's warm. I have all of my ingredients here for each jar. My tip is to turn the handles of the pot this way. It helps because this is kind of janky, but I like it facing this way. And that goes for this pot. I like the handle turned this way because when I'm filling the jar, my mess reduces. Those are my hot tips. Guess what I just figured out with all of this canning I've done? This jar holder is not the original and didn't come with this pot. And oftentimes it will just fall in. See, it's not even on here tight. It's so janky. And it's very annoying. I've got to figure this out. In the meantime, we're going to go with janky. Let's add the dry ingredients first. So we know each of these jars is going to get a bay leaf. I have 4 here. These are my juniper berries. I'm going to put 5 juniper berries in each jar. If you cannot find juniper berries, you can do allspice. Okay. I have about a half a clove of garlic. I don't like mine terribly garlicky. Let's see, 5 cloves per jar. We're going to slice this. I just open it up. Pinch of salt. And that's everything. So let's fill our jars. Get these jars filled and pack them down. We have all our ingredients in, except the crunch. So let's get these filled up. 1/2 inch headspace. We will be processing these in a water bath for 10 minutes. Debubble, baby. Get this mushied down. A very technical canning word. Mushy it. A no fail rate when I use the ball canning lids. And to save time, that's what I use. Okay, on the other end of this, we're going to check out for half an inch. Yes, 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 yes. We're going to do 1/8 of a teaspoon of the extra crisp. Okay, what else? Vinegar to wipe our lids. Get that lid, the rim, get that rim perfectly clean. So important. find our ball lids, ball whatever, tops. I'm not fancy enough or big enough channel to be sponsored, ha ha ha, by Ball. So fingertip tight, fingertip tight. All right, the jars are going to sit in here. Until I'm ready with the next batch. I thought I would get 9 jars and I only got 7. I have this left over, which I'll put a little brine on at the end, and it'll go in the fridge. So I forgot to put the ingredients in, and it's totally okay to do it after. I turned down the brine so it's not crazy hot, going in these non-heated up jars. Timer is up. 10 minutes is up, and I have bad news. One of my jars broke. I went to see if it came to a full rolling boil, and one of the jars was floating. So the bottom had come off. There's a couple of reasons that I know that happens. One is the heat temperature between the hot liquid and a room temperature jar. I don't think it was that because my brine had cooled down a bit. The second thing is a faulty jar. My jars are all from Goodwill, so they've lived a long, healthy life. So that could be one of the reasons. Okay, they look beautiful. Set it for 5 minutes and let them rest. Hopefully you'll start hearing them seal. I'm still really bummed I lost a jar. I'm not kidding, because you know that takes a lot of work to cut, to fill the ingredients, yada yada. So, first world problem. Get over it. I know. Oh, the other thing is it could be because you tighten the ring too tight. Not sure how that works, but that is another problem. My 5 minutes is up. I've already heard a few of them pop, so that's a bonus. We test the tops after they've cooled to make sure we don't hear a little dent. And then the other test is you hold it like that and it doesn't come off. So those are 2 tests to make sure you have a great seal. You do not leave the bands on because that can create a false seal. And here, my friends, are our pickled red onions, 3 to 5 years shelf stable, and we are building our pantry. This is exciting. It's a time saver, a money saver, double win. I want to have wins every day, however small. Another win is that I made my bowl, and you can watch 2 videos on that. I've added poke. It looks absolutely beautiful, and I'm excited. My bowls have to fill me all day long because I don't want to snack, and it helps me keep the weight off and just maintain, but not feel like I'm hungry. So I 100% recommend this. Side note, I added grilled eggplant, which I made for tacos, but I had a little extra and I just threw that in, and it'll just, I won't even be able to taste it, I'm sure. So I want you to see the power of a really good protein bowl. Thank you for canning pickled red onions with me. Ciao for now.